Uncensored. I am your host, Keith Andrew. Along here is Nikki Armstrong, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
It's my pleasure, Keith. Nice to see you.
You too. For people who don't know, last time we did an interview, it was just audio. And that was kind of my mistake. I did 71 audio tracks in my past interviews. And not a lot of people were interested. So I was like, you know what? And by the way, it is uncensored, so you can curse if you want to. I was like, fuck it. No one's taking me seriously. And no one wants to listen to audios unless you're traveling.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get any sponsors or anyone interested. Even though I do, there's other people I did interview who did video endorsements for me. But, so basically this is season 1. Let's see, it's season 1 part, if you look at it like that. So it's more video than audio.
Well, it's both. At least you have the picture, the face that goes with it. Except you don't have your face.
Well, kind of.
Maybe you do, because if you're shooting the camera in the sky, there's no picture of you, right?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, good.
Right, so starting off, what can you tell me about yourself?
Well, I'm a singer, a songwriter, a band leader. I'm a DJ. I have my own radio program here in northern New Jersey. And I just came back from France. I think when I talked to you last, I was just before I left for France. I'm not sure. But I just came back from a tour in France, which was excellent. And kind of hit the ground running because I play a lot of gigs in New York City. I live in New Jersey. I play in New York City and all over. This weekend I'm in Connecticut. I love what I do.
That's really nice. How did he get into being like a songwriter and singer? Was it easy? Was it hard?
It was just a natural progression. So I would say in a certain way it was easy. Not that it's easy as a general rule, because there's a lot of details all the time to handle. From booking shows, hiring musicians, putting the shows together, putting the music together. There's so many details, and promoting as well, because you have to make sure that wherever you are, people are going to come out and see you. It's always like that. So that's the tough part. Once you're there and you get on stage, it's amazing.
No, I bet. Hopefully one day my talk show will take off and, knock on wood, hoping for the best.
Yeah, we'll come do a live performance.
You mentioned that you have your own talk show.
I have not a talk show, a radio program. It's a blues-based program. It's on a station here at the College Fairleigh Dickinson University. And it's a format of blues, but I play everything: blues, rock, soul, funk, R&B, some jazz. And I do a lot of interviews as well, and try to keep people alert to new music as well. So it's cool. I've been doing it I've actually been at the station since 2002, but I've had my own show for about 7 years now.
That's really nice. Hey, maybe if you're interested, maybe you could interview me.
Yeah, there you go.
Just throwing it out there. You don't have to or anything.
Mostly I do music related, like people who are coming into town that are performing. For example, the last interview that I aired was with Johnny Winter. I don't know if you're familiar with who he is.
Heard of him.
Yeah. So that's mostly what I do in terms of interviews. And a lot of them are like this. They're kind of on the fly, It's fun.
All right. Now, starting off, what can you tell me about your background, if you don't mind?
No, not at all. Was born in Arizona, raised in Buffalo, but I grew up in Northern California, Contra Costa Bay area, outside of San Francisco. And then I came back to New York to be a dancer. And I'm still a dancer, and I did dance for years professionally before I even got into singing. I went from dance to acting and then singing. Singing was something I always wanted to do, but it took me a long time to get to that point of like, oh, right, I was going to sing. And then I just started doing it. And as soon as I started, I had a production deal, and I was off and running, writing my own music.
Now, do you think it's easier for women to get started because, they're better looking than guys? Do you think
it's not. I don't think it's about that necessarily. I think it's about what you have to offer, and somebody comes along and sees it, and they say, "Okay, let's get this done." So, because I actually teach too, so I work with younger people all the time, and I watch the steps that they have to go through, and if they've got the goods, they usually get somewhere. I'm proud to say that probably at least 90 to 95% of all my students perform professionally.
Well, you mentioned you are a teacher, so what do you teach?
Voice, singing, and also performance workshops I do, and sometimes songwriting.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It's fun.
And it's kind of good of, excuse me, it's kind of funny you mentioned, teaching. My next subject I was going to ask you is, did you enjoy high school, or did you hate high school?
God, I haven't thought about that in so long. I did actually kind of enjoy it because about my second year in, there was an alternative program that I participated in. So I didn't have hardly any classes. I contracted my classes with the teachers. So, for example, I did, I think, government. I did home economics. I did various classes where I sat down with the teacher before each quarter and would decide on what I was going to accomplish per the requirements and how I was going to go about it. And then I would actually do the steps on my own and turn in reports, sometimes even written reviews from other people that I worked with. And I'd turn in my assignments in a timely fashion and get graded on that basis, which was so cool because at the same time I started dancing. And I was able to spend the extra time that I had, instead of being in a classroom doing dance and being a teacher's assistant in dance. I had like 4 classes of dance a day. And the rest of the time I worked on these other classes on my own. Maybe I went to typing class. I don't know. I didn't have a lot of classes besides dance. So it was really, really great.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I kind of wish I had that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I wish there was more. But there are some schools like that, actually, where actually students work at their own pace, not in a classroom, and they're not just taking tests and make sure that they know that. Because the tests don't really show. What I always had to do was the doing of the subject to show that I understood it and could apply it. And it was great.
Oh, it is. Well, before I ask you a little more about the voice work that you do, the next question I was going to ask you is, were you a party animal in college? Were you a study nerd?
I was a party animal. I did some, but I guess I did some, and I had a sort of clique that I hung out with, for sure. But, and yeah, there was a lot of drugs, but I don't look back on that as the good part of it, for sure, because I know now that I would have gotten a lot more done during that time had I not been involved in that. So, I don't look back at that aspect of it too fondly. as I would say now. I have more of a party lifestyle. I work in nightclubs. I don't have like a social life outside of it. I just don't have time. But it is my social life too. Like, I love the people that I work with. And the people that come and see me become my friends, usually. That was like somebody sent me a text, a friend of mine who's somebody you should interview too. He's an author. He sent me a text. He said, what was the best part of France? This is the second tour I'd done. And I said, the people and the love that you get from these people. You know, you're there and they appreciate it so much, and they become, you know, they're fans, but they become your friends. You know, and then it's just great.
No, I get it. Now, the next question I was going to ask you was, did you ever do any sports? Were you athletic besides dancing?
Yeah, I was. I was into gymnastics. And I had a serious injury in grade school. And it was kind of like brushed off, like nothing's really wrong. But then when I was in high school, I was seriously into gymnastics. And I was competing and I was doing really well. And then one day, it just all fell apart because this old injury kind of came into play. And so I had to stop doing gymnastics. I kept dancing, and truth be told, I shouldn't have been able to dance the way that I did because I basically had broken my spine, and it never got fixed. So I'm still athletic. I still dance a lot, particularly on stage, but I play tennis almost every day. I've been doing that for about 3 years, but I love it.
Well,
that and Frisbee.
Well, if you're passionate about something, you're never too old for it.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people do this, and like I'm trying to find a word for it. A lot of people do it for activities. A lot of people do it at parties for fun. You said you're a dancer, and you used to do gymnasts. Did you ever do one of those human pyramids, or never got the chance to do one?
No. I mean, I don't even really know what that is. I mean, I kind of know from maybe seeing it on TV, which that's crazy stuff. Like, you're talking about, like, where they all pile up and all these positions. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, wow.
Yeah, it's human art.
I never did that. No, I did all the other stuff. Floor work and all the other things.
Right, and we're going back to what we mentioned before. You mentioned that you're a teacher and you teach voice. How would people be interested in taking your classes, or how do you teach voice, or what steps do you take?
Yeah, I have a real specific approach. It's based in gospel, which all contemporary music is based in gospel as opposed to classical. I always give the example, like, you know, you take Pavarotti over here and you take Sting over here, and you have two completely different kinds of sounds, and there's two productions of those sounds. Pavarotti would be based in the classical. It's a different type of sound production. That carries over into theater, by the way, you know, like Broadway and that type of stuff. And then you have somebody like Sting or Steven Tyler or that kind of, you know, singing, which is based in that gospel, blues-based type of production of sound. And that's what I teach, and I have a very specific way of teaching it. It's pretty simple. And funny enough, although the voice is the first instrument ever, I mean, think about it, it's the first instrument. It's the only one that we can't really look at and see and touch, right? Whereas, you know, if I'm playing guitar or a flute or, you know, a trumpet or, you know, drums or whatever, we can see and look at all those things, right?
Right.
So the interesting thing about the voice is, although we can't do that, the voice basically does exactly what we decide for it to do. And the toughest part about singing is actually this, how we think and how we look at it. So if we have an idea, oh, I can't do that, bam, the whole thing shuts down. If you say, I can do that, and you get the concept of how to do it, the instrument automatically does it. And then the muscles build up and support around. So it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of aspects to singing, but that's just one of them.
Yeah, that's really cool. I never knew that.
I could teach you to sing, Keith.
Hey, how much would you charge?
I charge $60 an hour, whether Skype or in person.
Oh, I think in person would be better.
Yeah, it is. It is, actually.
Our next, before I go on to my next question or subject, like I said, it's a normal interview. You have as much time as you want, and you can ask me anything you want, so it doesn't have to be one-sided.
Well, then how did you start doing this?
Well, to make a long story short, you want the short story, you want the long story?
Yeah, give me the short story. You know why? Because in about, pretty soon I got to start to get ready. I have to go into town. But go ahead, give me the short story.
Well, the short story is I worked in retail, and I got sick. Long story short, they hired me knowing I had a learning disability. Then they decided this kid is a liability. And he has an outside organization looking in on what we're doing. Get rid of him. Can't get rid of him. He signed a paper. So they had people, wink, wink, befriend me. And, and they earn my trust and whatever. And as soon as they got what they wanted, they stabbed me in the back and they forced me out. They got me sick. And while I was recovering for a whole year, from uncontrollable panic attacks and anxiety attacks, I said, fuck it, I don't want to do retail anymore. I don't want to deal with that bullshit. I want to start my career like everyone else. And kind of going back to the long story a little bit, but I just came up with an idea. I came up with the KeithAndrewNetWork. I was making videos. And it's like, well, that's great. I'm using like the Dumbo video. I'm using the Jumbo Book video just for fun. Making my own videos from scratch. A lot of people on YouTube are doing that. I want to do something different. I want to do something that stands out. And I came up with the idea of, for the longest time I've been using my learning disability as a crutch, saying, oh, I can't do this, I have this holding me back, or this is my problem, or... So it's like one day, just screw it. I came up with the idea for my talk show. I want to prove to people that even with a learning disability, I can still amount to something and reach my goals in life. At the same time, and that was the first half, and later on I was like, I sound like a dick when I just say just for me. And I was like, maybe I can tweak that. Maybe I can do it a little better. Then I started turning myself into a perfect example for people out there, deaf, blind, or in a wheelchair, that you don't have to label yourself as mentally challenged or handicapped. If you're very passionate about your goals in life, you should prove to people you can still amount to something. And that's a good thing I did, because you got more people interested. And for the past year, as you know, we did our interview a year ago, but my mistake was it should have been this. Should have been video. By getting over my anxiety of how to interact with people, so I just wanted to do normal voice interviews. And, that was a good idea at the time. Unfortunately, it bit me in the ass later on. So that's why I'm doing season 1 over again, doing it right. And just knock on wood, I just hope things work out and I find the right people who like to be interested in taking a chance to work with me and just become friends, and that's pretty much it.
That's great. That's great. I think you're off to a good start here. I do have some friends to refer to, so we'll do that later, but cool.
Now, the last subject I want to talk to you about, well, there's 2 subjects, but depending on how much time you have. Which one do you want to hear first?
I don't know, because I don't know what they are.
I came across this one last night. It was conspiracy theories on cartoons. That was the one subject I wanted to talk to you about, and the other one was hypocrites. So I didn't know which one you wanted to talk about.
Probably the hypocrites. I mean, the only thing I know about the conspiracy theories is Jesse Ventura. Which I watched most of his show. He's pretty heavy-handed, in the presentation, but I don't know, some of it seems really real. But anyhow, let's do the hypocrites, because that's a great subject.
While I was doing my talk show a year ago, I came across 71 people, you're one of them, who are very nice and took the time and say, "Oh, you're doing the right thing," and you should keep going on. And like a year later, I was like, "Hey, remember me? We did a talk show together like a year ago, and I told you I was going to do a follow-up a year later." "Oh, yeah. Well, what can I do for you?" "Well, I kind of messed up on my talk show from the first time. Would you be interested in redoing the interview as in the video?" No. It's like, "Why? You were supportive the first time." "Yeah, at the time it seemed like a good idea. But yeah, the truth is, we don't know what your story is and if you're taking advantage of people or you're just bullshitting or, basically from saying you're doing a wonderful thing to, yeah, you are doing a wonderful thing, but personally I want nothing to do with you." So it's kind of like, what the hell, you can't have it both ways.
Right. I understand. Well, that's an everyday occurrence in life and in every different aspect of life, that people will say one thing and then change their mind, or even say that they'll do something and then they'll even negate that they even said that they would do the thing. So, I mean, for me, I just take it as part and parcel. If it's somebody that's really close to me, then I will tackle them on it, because it's not cool. If it's somebody that I'm dealing with business-wise, or that's just, a social connection, I basically kind of keep note of it. And if it happens again, then I eventually disconnect, as in I don't really work with them or interact with them anymore, because, this is what it's got to be about. It's got to be about trust. And I think the only things that are good, that are things that people can use, are based in that. It's based in trust.
I did a lot of good interviews with a lot of people, and some of them were just starting out, and some of them were actually famous, most of them voiceovers. And they said, "Oh, this is fun. We can't wait to do it again." And from saying that to, "I never said that," or "Where did you get that idea from?" It's kind of like I was saying, people say one thing then do another. Again, I don't put up shit like that. I'm very respectful. I'm upfront with people, and I do get I work on people. Once they say no, I keep working on them.
Right.
People say I'm a pain in the ass, but I'm very passionate. And today is episode number 6 with you, but yesterday was actually number 6 with my other person I came across a month ago. And basically she said, "Oh, I remember you wanted me to be on your talk show, and I told you to come back in May." And then while we were doing the interview, she said, "Yeah, I remember you. We hung out yesterday. We got a drink together. You told me about your talk show." And I was like, first time talking, second time talking, first time meeting, and I'm from New York. And then she's like, "Oh, why am I doing the interview with you then?" It's kind of like, I don't put up with stupidity, and I don't put up with people who are disrespectful.
We will. Oh, well. Yeah, you just got to move on then. Move on and find... There's lots of people. And you're on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Lots of people. But anyhow, I was going to say that there may be some people who don't want to do on video, that's a possibility too. You know, on the phone, it's more anonymous. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I do
want to do video.
I do get both answers. You know, I understand, you know, for example, if you didn't want to do an on-screen appearance, I would understand. I would respect that. You know, we're friends. And most of the people I interviewed, you know, I did ask for their friendship, and if I thought we were friends, but when I tried to do a follow-up, they just completely shoved shit back in my face, and it's kind of like, where the hell is this even coming from?
Right. Yeah, you just gotta move on, I think.
Yeah, it's not...
as many of those you'll find, you really will probably find like 3 to 4 times more of, you know, people that aren't like that.
It's true, and bottom line, it's not my karma.
There you go.
Okay, wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners? You have any funny stories you want to share before you go?
Let's see, funny stories. I'll tell you a really good story. I'm still kind of riding high on this. So we're in France for 2 weeks, right? And we're traveling with a group of musicians. And playing these wonderful rooms, wonderful people, great food, great wine, the whole 9 yards. And everybody treats you, at least over there, like royalty. If you're there performing, it's ridiculous. It's so nice. They're so gracious. And I'm there with my sax player, Rob Chaseman, which is another person you should do. And we're using musicians from France, but our flights were booked together for the tour. But his wife decided to come. She had travel points, so she got her own ticket. Except he and I are seated together because we're booked together. She's seated separately, so we're all tired. The only thing we can complain about is that we hardly ever sleep on this tour. So we go to we're boarding in, and we go to the desk, and we explain to the nice lady that's at the desk that they want to sit together, and I'll sit anywhere as long as it's on an aisle. And we're flying from Frankfurt to Newark on Lufthansa, so I'll give Lufthansa, and we go up there and we explain it to her, and she says, "Oh, okay, I see. So he can have a seat with her anywhere, and you could take any aisle seat." We're like, "Yeah." And this woman ends up telling us like all about her story, and she's this beautiful woman who just survived like breast cancer, and she has kids and all this. And we're listening to her, and then all of a sudden she just hands us back our boarding pass. She goes, "I upgraded you all to business class." So there we are. We're in business class, and we're dreading, you know, the flight home, 8 hours, 9 hours, whatever it's going to take, because we're all so tired. And we had such a great time. I don't even know if most of us slept, because we were having so much fun riding in business class, eating this great food, as much as we wanted to drink, playing with our chairs, laying them all the way out. So the flight that left at 1:55 p.m. and arrived at Newark at 3:30 p.m. really felt like that hour and a half, but no more. It was great. Thank you, Tom.